1, lag. Declan wins the lag.
Yeah. So I have that moment.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Shaun wins the lag. Right, first frame, Shaun Chipperfield to break. Time running. Foul, ball in hand, anywhere behind the break line. Time running.
And here we go with the semi-final between Shaun Chipperfield and Declan Brennan. Shaun Chipperfield won the lag, got things underway with a foul break. Two very exciting talents. Shaun, fast, aggressive, attacking like a whirlwind around the table. If he gets away, he can be extremely destructive. Declan Brennan, a man still proving himself on the scene, but very, very exciting young talent. This should be a great game of pool. And we bid a good, well, I was about to say good morning, but it's way past morning. Good afternoon to Gareth Potts. How are you, Gareth?
I'm good, thanks.
Shaun Chipperfield against Declan Brennan. What's your thoughts?
Well, exciting game. I don't think there's anyone more exciting to watch than Shaun Chipperfield in full flow. Can make the game look ridiculously easy at times. What comes with that is occasionally the lapse in concentration, maybe because the pace that he plays at and makes the odd strange mistake, but when he's in full flow, he does make the game look unbelievably easy. I mentioned yesterday there's been huge hype about Declan, and especially from his good friend Ronan, who he practices with all the time. Ronan can't speak highly enough, and I did say yesterday that all that hype's okay, but you still have to prove yourself and you still have to win, and he's yet to win a big tournament in England, and what a way to break that duck by winning this event.
It certainly would be. And he's taking the first frame. Did you see anything of the Ronan McCarthy, Phil Harrison game?
No, I haven't seen any. I've only just come, so I did watch a few of the results as they were coming in on the Q score. I saw that he was 6-2 and 7-3 ahead, but yeah. No, I didn't see any. I did just speak to him actually in the bar, and he said that he felt like he played okay. He just he couldn't get the break going, and he dry broke. 6
dry breaks.
Yeah, dry broke in the decider. And
I mean, it was a high quality game. 8 breaking dishes and 5 reverse dishes, but just, you know, those 6 dry breaks, you just can't do it against Phil Harrison, can you?
Yeah.
He barely missed a ball, to be fair to him. But that's probably, I don't know for sure, but at the 6 events he's played, I think that's probably the 4th time he's made, certainly the last 16, if not the last 8. He's gone deep in so many of the events without actually getting across the line. It's going to be frustrating for him by now, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just talking to him there in the bar, and he said he just feels as though just that little thing that he's waiting for just isn't quite happening for him. It feels like he's playing well, and to be honest, I don't think anyone plays more than Ronan. He plays in singles leagues at the club that Declan works at actually, and it's a handicap league, so he's playing long race matches against good players giving huge handicaps. I think the handicaps he plays off sort of -15s and -17, so he does play as much pool as anyone, as does Declan, I think, and it's the reason why he's sort of come on leaps and bounds, really. I do like the way that Declan plays. I like his sort of pace around the table. He seems very sort of composed and confident. He isn't scared of anybody, that's a fact.
No, and he's had some good results on the way to this point as well. We'll take a look at those in a minute. If you're interested, the other semi-final is being played between Rob Warren and Phil Harrison. You can watch that. Well, I thought it was across on table 11, but it looks like it's on table 4. Yeah, it will be across on table 4. So Declan doing everything right in the first couple of frames, and he's going to quickly be in a 2-0 lead.
I commentated last night on the Mark Boyle Gillespie game, and I said about how good Mark Boyle's cue ball control was, and Declan Brennan's cue ball control is also very, very tight, and every shot he's played in these 2 frames, he's had the cue ball on a string, really. And he is obviously a very good potter. He is obviously a very good cueist. And when you've got such a tight cue ball as well, it's sort of a recipe for not really seeing where the miss comes from.
Do you know if he comes from a snooker background? Because when I first saw him, I thought he just looks like he's got all the fundamentals of a good snooker player.
Yeah, he does. I don't know the exact story behind it, but he does come from a snooker background, and Ronan briefly told me that I think he actually had a word with him. I think he was And he was in one of the major cities, I don't know if he was in Dublin or Belfast, and he was trying to make it as a snooker player. He was practicing playing down there, and Ronan saw him, and I think Ronan had a word with him and was honest with him and just said, to be completely honest with you, I don't think you're going to quite have what it takes to make it in the snooker world, certainly not to make a good living, but I think that you could do a lot of damage in the pool world. I'm not sure exactly when this conversation happened, but so Declan took his advice and took up pool, and it's obviously proving to be a good move.
So Declan, his route through to this point, he beat Tony Halpin in winners round 1-11-4. He then went on to play the Maltese Leiden de Bono, beat him 11-5. He then lost to Ronan McCarthy in the winners qualification, but then went on to beat Ben Flack 8-1 in losers qualification. In the last 16, he beat Jamie Burnett, who was having a very good weekend. He beat him 11-4, and he's just beaten Mark Boyle 11-6, so a really good string of results, and he'll be feeling on top of his game at the moment, and even more so with his 2-0 lead.
Just as you were saying that, Shaun has had a horrible first shot and got down and cracked it in like it was over the hole, stunned off the side cushion. You have to say he's been desperately unlucky where it's finished. He obviously can't pot the one that he wants to pot, which is the one into this bottom left corner as we look, and I don't think he can get to the one to the top left corner over where he's sitting, so I think the only option is the one into the top right corner, but with that he's bridging over the yellow and obviously very close to the other yellow, so couldn't have really gone much worse considering how well he hit the shot before. But this boy just pots them sometimes like they're over the hole.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a contrast in styles here, isn't there? I mean, Shaun, his cue ball control won't be quite as good. You'll see him running out of position, but he just pots them off the lampshades.
Yeah, sort of a not quite the same distance of contrast, but very similar to the Boyle-Gillespie game last night, where I said one of them just keeps potting them and the other one just keeps putting the cue ball wherever he wants.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's maybe not quite to the extreme, but a very similar situation here.
A look at Shaun Chipperfield's route through in winners 1. He beat Ben Rowland and then went on in a hill game against Liam White, beat him 11-10. Then he beat John Rowe 11-7 in winners qualification. In the last 16 last night, beat Carl Boyes 11-4, and Carl was having a really good tournament, and he's just come through a quarter-final game, hill against John Rowe, winning 11-10. So
he's potted some very tricky balls in this frame, and he's going to have to put another one here because he's going to have to screw twice across for the black into the middle just like that, because he didn't go in any other pocket really. And you have to say, given the fact that he's 2-0 down and hasn't really touched the table, that is a really good finish.
Yeah, I think the analogy you made between Mark Boyle and Scott Gillespie is really good actually, because Declan is that kind of more of a touch player. Shaun is almost like bullying the table. It's quite brutal at times, industrial in some ways, but it's great to watch.
Yeah, he's almost like a bit of a Dustin Johnson golfer, where he just overpowers the course with his sort of power and distance. He's driving it almost 400 yards and just flicking little wedges into the par fives, and I think that Shaun Chipperfield is that version. He breaks off and doesn't really matter where they are, he just sort of cracks them in like they're over the hole, and like I say, at times does make it look stupidly easy. I do think one thing that does come with that style of play is when he has the bad day or when he has the bad game, it is sometimes very bad. Yeah,
we saw Shaun a couple of times last year on this arena table, and he had a couple of horrible matches where just nothing went right for him. When he's on it, but conversely his B game is just maybe not as good as other people's B games.
I like Declan's break though. He breaks very similar to how I used to break when I played English 8-ball. and he strikes the cue ball the same as I did. He gets the cue ball coming back. As long as he doesn't screw it off into either of the corners directly, the only way he goes and off really is if the cue ball gets kicked into one of the corners. So I think he's eliminating going in off, and because obviously the cue's so straight, it would be a bad shot for him to screw directly in off.
Extension call. Red's in play.
A little bit trickier these. Obviously played on the double first shot here, and a little bit short. Would have preferred another extra roll out of the cue ball to leave it dead straight. You might think, well, what does that matter? But I think had the cue ball have rolled another inch forward, it almost made the double unmissable. In fact, it stopped here. See there, that's where he was wanting it. The fact that it stopped here does make it missable now. And I think that's now why he's changing his route maybe, and feels like he wants to get straighter on it.
Yeah.
Now he's gone back. Still think he'll get close to it, but it's perfect.
Yep.
Good shot.
Played at the right pace as well, didn't he? It was just to the top knuckle, but
Yeah, just needs to be make sure he gets the cue ball where he needs to here, because the black doesn't go to either of the bottom corners. So I think it's just, I think he thought he was just flicking the edge of the hour there. That's why he played it so hard, and he has trickled through again an inch too far now. And like I said, because the black doesn't go to either of these bottom corners, it makes this a little trickier.
yeah.
He's now looking at maybe playing a little bump into the black.
Let's be careful not to push it on top of the yellows, though. He could just run across the face.
He could, but he's just the wrong side of the red now, so he may need to screw on and off this side cushion. Well, I'm saying the black doesn't go into this left corner. I'm presuming it doesn't. If he doesn't, he'll screw off this side cushion. Played that really good.
Yeah.
Couldn't have put that better with his hand.
Judged to perfection. Just has such a nice natural touch.
Frame.
Round of applause.
I'm playing at a nice pace as well, Nick. I think, you know, it's not too quick, it's not too slow. You can just see that he's playing within himself.
Yeah. He's still playing at a pace that's exciting to watch, isn't it? It's not, you know, you're not sitting here thinking he's taking too long over his shots. It's
Yeah, and he's not standing there shaking his head. I know he hasn't really had anything to shake his head about, but, you know, when he does play a bad shot or he does fall out of position, he doesn't stand there sort of shaking his head, making a sort of big deal about it, which he just gets on with it, which I like.
yeah, great demeanour.
And to be fair, neither does Shaun. Because of his style, sometimes, like you say, the cue ball is out of position, and as an opponent, he can be quite sort of intimidating and demoralising when you're playing against somebody like that, because he keeps sort of almost what you think's falling out of position, but he doesn't even flinch at the fact that he's out of position and just gets down and cracks it in, and it is quite hard to play against sometimes. I was just going to say, this is strange. He actually breaking with his hand on the table. And the disadvantage of that, of course, is you notice that the bulk line on these tables is drawn at 20%. So it's not halfway in between the two, the corner pocket and the middle pocket. It's actually a little bit closer, further down to the corners. As you can see, 25% would be somewhere where that yellow is. And 20% is obviously a little bit further back where it's at. So it means that you can only put the cue ball on the line, and you're restricted with how far the backswing can be. So you're restricted by how hard you can hit him effectively.
He played that well, but he's been a bit unlucky. And has he stuck on this yellow? Has he got another shot? I'm not sure.
No, it's desperately unlucky. He has no shot.
Can he get to the one just past the black?
He can, but where's the cue ball is probably
Yeah.
close to the right middle if he makes it. You could argue that he probably played the cannon a bit too hard. I don't think he needed to bump the red very far.
Yeah.
He just needed to, tickle it down almost 3 or 4 inches. But even so, I think to land glued to that where he can't really see a red is unlucky. The danger of playing it so hard was what's happened, where he's pushed it on and off the side cushion and pushed it to this back rail. I don't think he needed to play it at that pace, especially with cue ball in hand. I think he maybe could have took his time a little bit more with that one. But yeah, just going back to the break, Nick, with his hand on the table, obviously you're restricted to how far you can pull the cue back, which means you're then restricted to obviously how far you can push it through and how much power you can generate. And especially with the line at 20%, I don't ever remember seeing anyone, and it's certainly any of the top players, that do break off with a hand on the table. I remember Jason Twist used to break off sometimes with his hand on the table, but I'm pretty sure when he used to do it, the line was at 25%, so he had a bit more to work with. I did say, is the cue ball close to this right middle, Nick?
It is. You called it. And he really couldn't do much with it, could he?
I'm a good player from sitting here, aren't I? So, no 2 shots, no free shot, it's just ball in hand, that is it. And obviously, straight away, he's playing his only awkward ball. Played it with an angle, so the cue ball just bounced off the rail.
And it's noticeable that there's just no time over it. I mean, it's a tricky little pop down the rail. He just gets down and just puts it in like it's in open play.
Yeah, and what comes with that is, you see how there he had to just play he's played a good shot, but you see how you just play like a punchy little shot there to get past. Oh dear, what's going on here? Well, he's now come straight on this, which means he's going to have to screw on and off this side cushion with the reverse side. As you can see there, he's dead straight. So on and off here with bottom left, as you can see. Left those 2 yellows knowing that he was just going to have a choice of 2, and he's actually perfect on the left one. Quite hard to commentate on with him being so quick. I think it's better when he's on the finishes that we just don't talk and
let him get on with it.
Let him get on with it, because to be honest, I ain't got a clue what he's going to do half the time.
It's quite pretty to watch, though. It's got to be said. I mean, from a technical perspective, from a purist point of view, but just maybe not so much. But it's great to watch someone race around the table, potting balls like that. It's so much fun.
Oh, definitely, and he is exactly that, a breath of fresh air to watch, and it's exciting. You don't know what he's going to do next. You don't know which ball he's going to pot, which one he's going to miss. Occasionally could maybe take the wrong suit from the break and take out it's great to watch. And just like that, 5 frames have been played.
And I think that I heard a break in the background, so I think the other game has just got underway between Phil Harrison and Rob Warner. I think there was a couple of technical issues on that table, which have now been sorted. And that game's underway. You can see the referee in the background, and you can see the players walking around the table. So we will keep a keen eye on the score from that table. Both players just stepped away for a quick toilet break.
think that's Lyndon there from Malta.
Frame number 6.
And
Declan Brennan to break.
I know it's a lot warmer generally in Malta, but it's not really cold outside today. The sun's out, and he's dressed like it's snowing. He hits the break good, and he hits it the same every single time. What he's trying to do is screw the cue ball up and down the line, so up and say over the blue and the brown spot. That is how I used to break.
So prize money in from here. These players are guaranteed 1,500. The losing semi-finalists. The losing finalist 2,600, and the winner £5,000. And then on the side there's the small matter of the Calcutta, which will pay just under £10,000 to the winner.
A few people on the stream talking about on the chat are talking about the short rack. My opinion on it is it's the best invention ever, because I agree it maybe takes a little bit more time to rack the balls up, but I think that's a really small price to pay for having every single ball touching every single rack, and it being completely fair for every player, every single rack, rather than it being down to how the ref has racked the balls up for you, whether you get a good split or not.
I think generally it's performed really well over the weekend. The last match there were a few issues. I think it was quite cold in the arena. The balls just didn't seem to be splitting at all. Ronan was really struggling to time it, and there were clusters left on the rack, so it tended to take a little while to remove the balls from the rack. But the refs are trying to be a bit more pragmatic in this match and try and leave it on the table where possible. Hopefully it shouldn't cause any problems. The players seem fairly happy with it. People talk about it slowing the game down. I don't think it does. It makes it more attacking.
It just means that it's fair for everybody. Everyone gets the equal. And the other thing is, you know, there was always the arguments of, oh, the refs sort of slack racked me, the refs dodgy racked me. He's racked the ref has racked the balls up too high. He's racked them up too low.
Well, I saw a money match recently where there was a lot of controversy over the pack being twisted every break.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do it on here.
All that's gone.
Yeah.
You know, you can't rack them up too high. You can't rack them up too low. You can't twist the pack because of the line. So it's just completely fair for everybody, and it just makes complete sense.
Does it also mean, I think we touched on it last year, that I think you'll know from your experience in China, where they do use the templates, they seem to have adapted a softer break, where, because they know they're going to get a consistent break where they tend to get a ball in the middle, they don't hit them as hard as they do it in here. And is that, do you think that will happen over time?
Well,
people practice with the shark rack and they can get a more consistent break where they find something that works for them?
Yeah, it's a good point. And the big difference is, Nick, is on the Chinese 8-ball, the front ball is racked up on the black spot. So the front ball is racked up on so they're effectively racked up a ball lower. And what that does is it allows you to make the wing balls into the middle, because on the English 8-ball table, the black is basically in between. If you drew a cross in between the middle and the corners, that's obviously where the black is on the English 8-ball table. On the Chinese, it's a ball lower, so that allows you to make those wing balls into the middle. And because they're set high, that doesn't happen. I have actually, when the short rack first came out, I did have half an hour on the English 8-ball table, just breaking and trying to work out. And the wing balls do still go to the middle, but it's not guaranteed, and you have to hit them quite soft.
Yeah.
So at the minute, there isn't a formula.
Someone's going to work one out, though.
Yeah, I think so. But the main reason there isn't a formula is because of where the balls are racked up. If they were racked up where the front ball is on the black spot, then the wing balls, which I mean, as what I say by the wing balls is the two balls down from the head ball would go into the centres. Is that something he could look at changing? I don't know, maybe food for thought with it.
That's a great shot there by Shaun. Skill shot, never easy over that distance, but he played it really well. And this comes from that missed ball by Declan. And now a decent chance for Shaun to get back level. going to be all about this ball to the left-hand rail and whether he can find the potting angle past the yellow. I think he can, and he may well leave it. If he can find the potting angle on that ball, he'll probably leave it as his last ball to get onto the black. I think the camera foreshortens that angle. I think there's enough room between the red and yellow where you can get to the potting angle. Finished a bit thin here though.
Yeah, either way it's not a good shot.
So he's just looking now. Yeah, you can see from there.
That's perfect. So you just play this with a trace of right hand side just to turn the cue ball over. You can see there, watch the ball spin look and just flicks it in.
Frame.
So referee calls frame, and it's 3 each. Rob Warne, 1-0 against Phil Harrison.
So there is holes obviously at the back of the shot rack there. So that the middle hole would be directly in line with that line, which means that the pack can't be tilted.
Talking about Rob Warne, I think he's fairly local to this area. One of the current England players, Wacker Warne. I did see him put up a couple of Facebook posts last year where I think his game was really in the doldrums. He was just totally unenamoured by it, and I think there were times where he was even considering hanging his cue up. I've not had a chance to talk to him about it, but it's really good to see him kind of this resurgence in his game. Look at this for a break.
Well, I think he must have heard me to take his hand off the table, because he put his hand back on the side there, and he's absolutely crunched them. And look at the yellows. Well, I say look at the yellows. Is there a case for reds?
It's about this, the red closest to
yeah,
this
well,
rail,
I said that presuming that one passes down there. If it doesn't, then
I don't think it does. Always hard to see from this angle, but I don't think it does. I think if it did, he would have gone reds.
needs to take that one from the middle of the table away early. And he's got a perfect angle to drop down on that. It's a good shot.
So natural.
Just left himself awkward.
Just doesn't care, does he? Just
What about that for a shot?
This is as good as I've seen Shaun Chipperfield play in a very long time. I said during the last match that when I woke up this morning, I looked at the bookies' prices and I noticed Shaun Chipperfield at 6-1 for the event, and I thought there was some value there, and ended up getting tied up doing other things and forgot to have a bet on it. But I think that 6-1 is going to be shrinking now.
Yeah, with somebody with this much firepower, that is a big price. Just seeing there Tom in the background, Tom Cousins, and that's who he practices with, I think, a lot of the time. So he isn't really going to have too many better practice partners. There he is.
Yeah, really.
Talking about firepower, there isn't too many that have much more firepower than him when he gets it going with the break he's got and his ability. So he'd have been used to practicing with Tom, where when Tom gets it going, he'd have been used to sitting in his chair for long periods of time, and what that does is it gets you used to playing at an unbelievably high standard.
Yeah, roommates and practice partners, and there's no one much better to have in your corner. Turning around and seeing the 2 times world champion behind you who's got your back. It's got to give you the boost.
Ooh, smelly.
Yeah, that's got a bit nasty, isn't it? It's,
He can drop this first red into the middle. You see how he hits the break the same every time. He screws the cue ball up and down that line. He can drop this red into the left middle first shot. Black goes into the right corner, I think. There you go. Oh, it's going yellows.
decent attempt.
Yeah, good pot, decent attempt.
I'm running.
What Declan's done there is purposely, well, he knew that he was going to leave him the edge of this red, but he wants to. He doesn't mind leaving him the end of it because he'd be happy for him to move it away. It's effectively his only problem ball, so he has to be careful, Shaun, here, where he moves this to. May not even choose to move it, may come off the side cushion and play onto his two bad ones on the left, and that's probably the shot. He doesn't have to touch that one.
Has he left an angle here that Declan can punch this in the middle and come back and break them open? Or is it not quite there, too much?
It's too much, and the cue ball's very close to the side cushion.
Yeah. Double kiss, unwanted. He was just looking to run off the face of that yellow and leave Shaun behind the other yellow. Well, being this attacking, you may see him take on the double. He could play the double, and no, he's not going to. I was going to say that would be ultra attacking.
He just wanted to push it over the middle to leave that as his ball as the breaker ball.
Yeah. Yeah, I wondered if he was going to try and play the back double and send the white up into the break out the red, but even that was a bit too adventurous for Shaun.
He's left him an attacking shot here, though. He can pop this into the right corner and kick his bad ball out.
Shot. Wow. That red's just covered the path.
I think he's alright, Nick. I think he might be able to just slightly swerve around it. I think it's only a little bit. I think he can get that to take just in time. Watch the left-hand side on the cue ball, just flick it around it like that.
You can see the ball spinning to the left.
Yeah, I think he's got the perfect angle to pot this in the corner and top down and land on the yellow there that's at the bottom of that line and just stun around two cushions and land on the one that's next to the black into the same pocket. Perfect. His cue ball control is really good. Always seems to leave that exactly correct angle.
Targeting the red.
I think
he's come behind it, hasn't he?
Oh, he's okay.
That was risky.
Yeah, he did play. He did play to kick the red full ball like that, but I think his heart would have been in his mouth when he played that. I think he thought he was going to slip behind it.
Nice.
Very nice standard as well
Yeah.
so far, Nick.
Yeah, really good. Really impressive from both players. And it's on as even 4 frames apiece. Let's have a look at the score in the other game. Currently 1 each. Rob Warren and Phil Harrison. You can watch that game over on table 4, or you can stick with us on the main arena.
Ninth frame, Shaun Chipperfield to break, 4 frames all, time running.
Oh dear. Cue ball straight into the middle.
Foul, ball in hand from behind the break line.
That's just poor breaking.
Yeah, any pool player of any sort of level would. It's like a pet hate to do that.
Yeah. Probably about 10 years ago, I went through a spell where I just couldn't stop myself from going in the middle, and adjusted my boat break around and worked on it, and seem to never do so now. I won't say never do so, but compared to the amount of times I used to.
Just trying to generate a lot of power and just cut across the ball. So you hit the front ball, half ball, and
yeah, sometimes you're better sacrificing the power for accuracy.
so he's put the cue ball here. He's going to pot this red that's in the middle of the table, and he's going to screw back into his problem red. That's what he tried, but he hit the yellow instead.
Now this is really nasty.
Well, it's nasty, and he's now effectively on the worst set of balls, because having that pocket covered over there is no advantage to him, and I think the yellow might even pass it anyway.
He does have a pot, but it's hampered cueing. And I fancy this one.
Can just get into the side of the cue ball though. I think he's just okay.
Yeah, he can get through to the one into middle, can he? Yeah, I think he can see the potting angle. You're looking at the same angle the player's looking at. Great camera work. Wow.
He'll be happy with where that's finished.
Yeah.
He just put his hand up, to be fair, and apologised.
Time out. Touching ball. Time running.
So do you have to make a touching ball move?
Sorry.
Do you have to make a touching ball move, or do you just play directly away from it?
No, you play directly away.
So this is touching ball, so he could just pot the red over the pocket then?
Yeah.
10 seconds.
If he pots the red over the pocket, he leaves him in trouble. Like that. Good shot.
Shows a good awareness of the rules. No, if you if the ball moves, then it's a foul.
So the American VCA rules and the Chinese 8-ball rules, you have to make a touching ball move.
Oh wow.
10 seconds.
Yeah, the total opposite.
5, 4, 3.
Oh, God, he flicked off the black and the red and went in. Didn't really have much choice, to be fair, and
No.
I'd have potted that, he'd have won the frame. He didn't play, he played it directly into the middle, didn't play to touch those, but they were always there, I suppose, as a chance that could happen.
Now a very makeable chance for Shaun.
And if he's on the one next to the red here in the middle of the table, if he's on that, I think he'll take it, and he's not. Look, you're not quiet. So he'll probably leave the one that's in bulk till last and play on the black in the middle.
Showing a deft touch.
Drag that, which enabled him to sort of hit the cue ball harder, which helps to keep it on line a bit easier than just rolling it dead weight. Anything but straight here. Whether it's anything but straight, or is he just okay? Wanted to be on the top cushion so he could just top on and off this side cushion. I think now he's got a screw on and off the cushion. Still doesn't matter to Chippy though, he just keeps putting the cue ball wherever he wants. Oh. Well, now he's flicked the reds, he's actually left the perfect angle. I think had he have not flicked the reds, he might have been straight on this yellow.
Another one's going to go his way.
Break.
5 frames to 4. Stepping away again for another quick bathroom break. I've had too many cups of tea this morning.
Chippy's cue there, he's just put on the table. I presume that he's had some work done to that because he's got like a brown piece in the middle of the butt there, so I presume he's had it extended, but rather than extend it on the end, they've added a piece into the middle. Jason, the great Jason Twist cue was like that. As you can see, look, he's got a piece in the middle there. So that's been added. Rather than add the piece on the end, which when you just basically add a piece on the end, it obviously does affect the balance of the cue, so that must be the reason why it's been added halfway up the butt like that. But Jason Twist had exactly the same thing as that in his cue.
Two each in that other game between Rob and Phil. They'll know each other well from EPA. They'll have played each other many times on UK Tour.
Frame, Declan Brennan to break, trailing 5 frames to 4, time running.
Didn't quite hit the front ball as flush as he had done in the previous, what, 4 or 5 breaks he's hit, but hence why the cue ball did go close to the corner, but still a great split and a good outcome. I think he's dead straight on this one across the bottom cushion. I don't know if he can pinch any, but the problem ball if he goes reds is the red to the left there that doesn't go into this bottom left corner.
Extension goal.
That problem red doesn't go off the red that's in the middle of the table. Sorry, the red that's over the middle. It doesn't go off that, I don't think. Not sure about that shot. I don't see where the cue ball could have gone other than hitting the red off the cushion, the yellow off the cushion full ball, and well, he's just lined up to play the yellow off the cushion, off the back of the red into the middle, but I think he's going to have to hit this quite hard to get it. Yeah, that was nasty. I don't think that was the bad shot. I think the one before was the bad shot. I'd have gone reds there. I know he was straight on the one across the back cushion, but he could have at least potted it and got the cue ball back towards this right corner and then potted the one in the middle and tried to get on the bad one.
He's going to be looking to clear these through at the bottom of the table and then try and leave an angle on the one on this this near rail to try and knock his bad ball out.
Either knock it out or, depending on the angle, he could even just drop to the side cushion because it does go. I think he's got the perfect angle on this ball down the rail. Play this as almost like a two-way shot, so the shot you said, Nick, to try and get on it now, like that. If he didn't, and he was on the one in the middle of the table, I think he will play it now. I think he'll play your shot and kick it out now. Or he could pot this one, then pot the one into the corner and drift up and play on a choice of 2 balls, and that's what he's doing. So he's going to pot this one in the corner, and he's going to drift up and play on a choice. So he'll either land on the red to the top right corner or the red to the bottom right corner.
So his target point is somewhere around about the U in Supreme.
Yeah, maybe a bit shorter than that.
Yeah.
Like there.
Yeah.
Good shot. Very, very good shot, actually, because not only has he got it where he wanted, he's got the cue ball off the rail an inch. I think he can just top on and off this side of this top cushion with a bit of left-hand side. He's worried that he's going to kick the cue ball out wide and snooker in behind there. That's why he's changed his mind. Yeah, he's okay because he's left it off the rail, which means he can just dig down at it.
Yeah.
Good finish. And what he does do, obviously, when the finishes are tough, is he does slow down and take his time and work the shots out. He doesn't run around the table all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It isn't just running around the table sort of clueless. Everything he does has got a purpose to it. It's just he does it quicker than anybody else. Obviously, to play like that, you've got to have a really quick pool brain. It's like Ronnie when he's break building, isn't it, at the snooker? He just sees everything so quick.
Now a 2-frame lead with the break in the next. But never right off the opposition. We saw that in the last match from 7-3 ahead. Ronan McCarthy was then 10-7 behind. And then next thing it was 10 each. So games can swing, momentum swings. We saw it the other day, Jack Whelan on the form of his life against John McAllister. John McAllister 10-3 behind, came back to win the match. So big break here for Shaun.
That's a much better break, and he'd moved the cue ball into the middle and he hit those flush, and it's amazing, isn't it? That's the best break he's probably hit of the whole match, and he's come up dry. And left quite an easy finish. I think Declan's looking at yellows, but I think I'd go reds. Just because of the black.
Yeah.
The black's a bit of a little bit of an issue. But I think if he goes reds, that black's not an issue. That was almost a dead set plant into the right corner. I think I would have gone reds there.
I think people probably naturally look at yellows because the red is obviously covered to the bottom right pocket by those two yellows. But
that easily goes in the middle, it easily goes in the corner.
Yeah.
And he's got two reds down here, the perfect balls to get on it from.
Let's see if that comes back to haunt him. It should be okay. It was probably a marginal call. Well, no. He's not going to be able to play this yellow. Well.
No, he definitely took the wrong balls there, Nick.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I'm not saying he won't get them, but...
I mean, he'd love to be able to play this yellow and run on and off the rail to get a bit closer to the one along the rail, but the reds are in the way.
Yeah,
so
you're right. He's just got to take his medicine and leave it at distance.
And suddenly, this becomes a much tougher pot. He has to judge the pace well because those yellows are guarded by that one red.
I think he can just play it with a trace of right-hand side and just kick into the red. As long as he hits the red at quite a pace, he won't snooker himself. Oh, well, he put his hand up there because he thought he missed it, and I think Shaun was up out of his seat there. So he did apologise. I can't believe that's gone in, to be honest. So just about the pace control. Because the line's coming in sort of quite close to the black, he's just got to be careful with the pace. Good shot. Good shot. You can see with a brand new cloth, even though he played it with a load of check side, it didn't act like there was a load of check side on it.
Frame.
That was the shot again that definitely shouldn't have gone in. See it into the cushion. Game obviously played in really good spirits because anytime one of them's had a little bit of luck, or even there where Decky obviously thought he'd missed it when he hit it, he apologised. I think he probably felt like he had to apologise given the fact that Shaun Chipperfield, I think, was halfway to the table when it fell in. It does hurt you, things like that, Nick, when that happens, because when you see that hit, where it hit on the cushion, you think, right, I'm at the table.
Shaun, he's just a busy person, and you can see him in the corner. His eyes are darting all over the place. He's chewing his lip and he's playing with his fingers, and it's just, you know, some players they look like they're. I mean, Phil Harrison just looked like he was nodding off in the corner earlier. You know, sat in his armchair after the Sunday roast, but Shaun just busily picking away, just eager to get to the table. It probably reflects his character around the table. Just a busy, fast, attacking player. Tom Cousins, when he sat watching on, he just looks like a bear coming out of hibernation. Just
If he's on the one across the top cushion, he may choose to play it now and just hold the cue ball onto the red with a bit of left-hand side. If not, he can just jab this one into the middle and leave the cue ball almost where it is.
Gary Powell asking if anyone can just enter these tourneys. Yes, is the answer to that question. Absolutely you can. The entry to the entire series was 1,400. There's a small premium for joining single events, and they're charged at 300 per event for the first 4. So do please join us. There are spaces for events 2, 3 and 4, so get yourself into one and you could be rubbing shoulders with some of the best players in the world. And what better experience and what better way to learn than throwing yourself into the deep end. We'd love to see you here. Get hold of us through Players Pool Events page if you want to join any of the subsequent events.
Very good shot from Decky there. Played the cannon exactly like that, knowing that he'd push the yellow away and be on this one into this right corner. Needs an angle on the one on the top cushion. I said needs an angle. He's just always body language. He's not impressed with that one, but the yellow does go to the top right corner. I don't know if it goes to the top left. He's screwing it. So I don't know if it did. Yeah, so what about that for a shot? It obviously does go. Black definitely doesn't go to the bottom left, so he'll screw back to the side cushion.
This is nice. 6-4 behind. He would have wanted to quickly stop that rot and close that gap, and he has, and it's 6 each.
Tough school this, Nick, isn't it?
Really is. Top match. We have had some great games throughout the weekend, actually, so if you haven't managed to join us all weekend, you'll find all of the games that we've shown through the links are on the Players Pool event Facebook page, or you will find them right here on Beard Productions YouTube channel. You can watch any of those matches. There was a great game that we covered last night in the last 16 between Mark Boyle and Scott Gillespie, and that was in last 16, of course. And there was another really great game yesterday in winners qualification between Rob Chilton and Neil Raybone, which finished 11-10. So an absolute feast of pool. If you find some spare time this week, then do watch some of those games. But for now, we're going to stick live with you. Shaun showing some frustration. He's
Didn't hit them as well.
no, feigning to break his cue over his knee. Phil Harrison now 4-2 up against Rob Warren in the other semi-final.
Mark Bernstein on the chat says a match worthy of the final, and I fear the final won't be as entertaining, and yeah, I have to agree. Well, I don't know if the final will be as entertaining, but this definitely is worthy of the final.
Extension call.
with his cue ball control you fancy him for this finish. He's got to put in the mileage with the cue ball going up and down the table, but he's doing it well.
He just called a foul, did he?
No,
Oh no,
called
sorry,
timeout.
timeout. I thought he called a foul, like he touched the ball or something.
No. Declan doesn't want to play across the rack, so just asked for it to be removed. They are absolutely fine to play across. If you play a stun shot, a punch shot, then the cue ball is never veering off. It's only when it's just rolled across at dead weight pace. But players prefer to have them off the table, understandably.
Great shot again there. Really good shot that. Might have only looked like a stun, but he's landed dead straight, so he can just screw back over where his hand is.
This really is good pull, very, very good pull from both players. And the game swings back in Declan's favour.
Declan's cue ball control is really, really good. His patterns are good, his cue ball control's good, he breaks good, cue's good. It's hard to see any weaknesses. His temperament's good.
Frame, Declan Brennan break, leading 7 frames to 6, time running. Yellow's in play. Time out, please.
So now Declan with a chance to take a 2-frame lead.
Time running.
And if he takes this frame, that'll be 4 on the bounce. He did the same in his previous match, his quarter-final. Against Mark Boyle, they were, I think at one point they were 6 each. In fact, I distinctly remember Mark was 6-5 ahead, and Declan ran 6 on the bounce to win 11-6.
The reason why he screwed back a little bit there is because he wants to leave the one over the right corner.
Oh no.
Wow. I was just going to say the reason he screwed back is he wants to leave the one over the right corner to last because it's easier to get to the black. Not that it mattered that much, but that's what he was thinking.
He's left this, I mean, Shaun will be very, very grateful of the chance, but he's left a horrible table. 2 balls tied up on the left rail, 1 ball in bulk.
Time running.
Not really too many places to duck for cover, especially with those 2 balls over the pocket. I think he's forced to attack from here, but, well, He's going to look to play this one inside the yellow, clear that pocket.
Yeah, and with the cue ball, develop his bad ball. He can't get to the top one but because of the black, but he can get to the other one.
So we're going to see everything happening in this shot.
I said he can't get to the top one. Jesus, he can get to the top one. What about that for a shot? I didn't think he could get to the top one because of the black, but watch the cue ball arcs around the black because he hits it so hard.
Wow.
Now what about this for a finish?
What a ridiculous shot.
Doesn't want it on the
No.
rail. Doesn't want it on the rail. Ugh. He may have to just drop it in now.
Anywhere but on the rail, and this is a gimme finish. 'Cause he
Yeah,
can-
even straight, he could have screwed
Yeah.
on and off the side cushion with a bit of reverse side. He has had to take his medicine and just drop it in.
So now a thin cut, but any quarter ball you expect him to get it.
Well, that's absolutely brilliant. You won't see a better finish than that this weekend, I can promise you that.
Well, I just said the table looked horrible when he came to it, and that one shot, just saw it immediately. Drop the ball into the bottom corner, leave the angle on the one at the top to play off the side row off the yellow and to clear a path for red in bulk, whilst at the same time white ball moving the one off the rail and lands perfectly on the one down the rail. Look at this again. That is fantastic.
Well, it's obviously executing the shots one, but it's having the vision to see the shots is the other thing. You have to be able to see it to leave the cue ball in the right place. And it's those kind of things that really hurt as a player when you know that you basically had 3 balls hanging over the pocket to go 8-6, and even when he missed, you know, he'll know it was so careless to miss, but he's still expected to be coming back to the table there, and those are definitely the ones that hurt.
Shaun Chipperfield to break.
Well, he's changed again here. Chippy's gone over he's gone over the actual pocket, and his cup broke, and even that hasn't worked. I understand why people do the cup break. I personally hate it, but I understand why people do it. But the problem when it doesn't work is it leaves the reds like that. At least when you break it in a head ball and you hit it with pace and you don't make one, sometimes they can go back messy. I find with the cup break they do generally just sort of sit a bit easier.
Reds in play.
So patterns are so good, so he takes these 2 out on the bottom of the table, leaves the one over the middle, then the one in the middle of the table, then leaves the one over the middle till last for the black. That's what he was wanting to do. He's just come a little bit awkward, and that's why he's taking this one, because he was bridging. He wanted this one third till last, but he's still okay. He can, as long as he leaves it straight, it's the same difference really, but so just on and off the cushion, he wants to leave it dead straight so he can just stun it in and leave the cue ball where the red is.
So he wants the cue ball pretty much where the red is now.
Oh no, he hasn't. He hasn't.
Wow.
Wow, that's so careless. That's twice he's been really, really careless. And you know, Nick, that because he had to change the route, as I said, when he was
Yeah.
going to have the one over the right middle and just pop that red into the opposite corner, well, obviously that couldn't have happened had he have not been a little bit careless with the positional shot the shot before, but that's so careless because even if he's got a big angle, he could have screwed onto the black.
Yeah, he's just overrun his position on the one. You mentioned that he wanted to leave it dead straight, and he's just overrun it by like an inch or so, which means that in playing the next shot, in stunning it, the ball's just gone to the left slightly and hidden behind the yellow. And that's ultimately what's going to cost him.
Thinks he's got a line off the side cushion. And he has got a line off the side cushion.
I was just
Great
about to say,
pot,
just needs to pot it, and he's naturally going to be on the blank. But
I don't think he could have held it any more than that, because the angle that the cue ball was coming in at it, and I think he has finished pretty dead straight on the double.
we saw him
Maybe
play.
not dead straight, but
Yeah, we saw him play a similar double earlier. You'll know before he does whether it's in. Got it.
great finish. Great finish in the end.
Frame.
So that's 4 on the spin. And both players leave the arena again. Another bathroom break.
What a standard.
It is.
And what a pace it's played at.
Frame, Declan Brennan break, leading 8 frames to 7, time running.
He put everything into that one. The back leg came up. Shoulder went in it. And they opened and then sort of went back together. Obviously love to go yellows, but can't pot one. Can't play red onto yellow first shot, so having to go reds. Everyone on the chat saying how good this match is and what a good standard, and totally agree. This is the perfect advert for English 8-ball. They're both attacking, both playing quick, played in a good spirit, and patterns, cue ball control, potting, everything's been absolutely brilliant by both players. One of the, I would say, one of the best matches that I've commentated on. Well, if he's landed on that one into the middle off the red, he'll take that.
Yeah.
I know he's bridging over the yellow, and
Yeah, he's definitely on that.
he's on it, but yeah, I don't see how he can miss it, to be honest. And the red will just bump into the yellow and push the yellow away a little bit. I think he'll definitely make this.
And and opened up the entire frame.
Nathan's asked how many breaking clearances and reverse clearances there's been, and I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think almost every frame. Maybe 2 that hasn't, out of what, 15 frames. So I would say, yeah, at least 12, maybe 13.
Yeah, we saw 13 break dishes, well, 8 break dishes and 5 reverse dishes, so 13 in total in the last match. This one is going to exceed that. We thought we were watching some high quality stuff last time in the quarter-final. This is exceeding.
Decky's cue ball control is just brilliant. Does remind me of Mark Boyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Phil, as he does, finds a way to win.
So outright prices before this game started, there was no price on Phil. 9-4 Brennan, 3-1 Chipperfield, 9-2 Warren. Just trying to look and see the price for Declan before the off this morning. I think he was 8-1.
If Phil Harrison does win, I wonder if KO can put the spread betting prices up for the amount of head shakes in the final.
Reese Cole is just, who is a bookmaker for some other events, has just put a spread up on the chat a minute ago.
Oh, right,
he
okay.
put 175.5 head shakes in the final for Phil Harrison is the line. 5 to 6 above, 5 to 6 below.
Oh, so you can sort of buy or sell at, what was that,
175.5.
Okay, well, I'll buy at that.
Yeah. Who's going to count them? That's the question. We need George out there counting them.
Not me, I can't watch it.
Key to the frame here.
He never used to be that bad, Phil. I remember when I was playing, he never used to be. He was always a nickname of the milkman, but he was never that bad. It seems the better he's got, the worse he's got at that. And this is just brilliant again from Shaun. Played the cannon perfectly, pushed the head over the pocket, and every single time they're both leaving the exact perfect angle. And when you leave the perfect angle all the time, it's just so much easier. Right down the shot there, you can see pulls it back in a dead straight line, pushes it through in a straight line. Shaun Chipperfield reminds me of one of those people that would just be very good at any sport or anything that he did. I could just imagine him being naturally good at everything. I would imagine that, you know, he's pretty good at football, golfer, you know, even darts, anything hand-eye coordination you can just imagine him being good at.
And there's the action being brought to you from the other table. Phil Harrison 6-3 ahead, and on a fairly simple finish to go 7-3. And I think he was down in that game. I think Rob was 3-2 ahead. Maybe wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure he was 3-2 ahead. So this is going to be 5 on the spin for Phil. And you'll certainly get a shake of the head from that shot. He's probably finished about an inch short of where he wanted to be, so he'll be shaking his head and grimacing and shrugging his shoulders. Well, actually, he's almost perfect.
White down the spots. What's the worst one he's hit? And he's made one directly into the middle, and he almost broke him. He hit him that bad.
Lucky not to lose the white.
Yeah, but
He hit him so bad, it didn't it hit below the middle bag? Oh no,
Yeah,
it was just on the
nearly,
knuckle.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I just thought for a second that cue ball was going to drift in behind the yellow, another half a roll, and it would have been, but he's left a nice angle to be able to pop this screw up onto the one on the rail, nudge it out. Oh no,
no, he purposely
didn't need to.
No, he purposely left that. He didn't need to.
He's just going to leave that as his last ball to get on
Yeah.
the black. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, actually, thinking about it, there's absolutely no value in trying to move it anyway, because the yellows are guarding the middle bag. And he could have done more damage than good.
Yeah, you don't want to be going into balls if you don't have to, and you definitely don't want to be going into balls when that's the only one you can land on. That's clever. A lot of people would have potted the long one there and then played the plant. The reason he hasn't is because if he'd have played the plant, then he would have had to get on this one down the rail from a red being over the middle, where that one's sticking out a little bit, makes it easier to get to this red.
Have to dig into this one and come off the side.
Yeah, it was a clever shot why he didn't pop the long one. Perfect. See, had this ball have been over the middle, it would have been quite tricky. Well, the fact is, see how he just keeps leaving the perfect natural angle all the time, just to keep dropping where he needs to. Cue ball control is just, well, as good as I've seen.
His fellow countrymen in the background applauding every time he gets down to the black. This really is some exceptional pull by Declan Brennan.
It doesn't get much better, does it? You know, considering as well how big this match is, not only to get to the final, but the jump in the money goes up, and the Calcutta, everything involved, everything considered.
He's now on the hill. It's 10 frames to 8.
And I know Shaun has had quite a few dry breaks, and he's changed it about. He's put his hand on the table, his hand on the rail, he's moved to the cut break, and he hasn't had much success with the break, but he hasn't done anything wrong other than not make balls on the break, and obviously that's not guaranteed. Rob Warren's got an easy finish there to get back to 7-4. And Rob Warren has got firepower. If he gets the chances, I don't think he's going to get the chances through Phil's bad play, but if he gets the chances through Phil's bad breaks, that match is not over.
Oh, look at the cue ball.
Oh, look at the cue ball. Look. They, I think it was Ronan and a few of the Irish boys there clapped at that. Because if you watch the cue ball, it just goes bang and then stops dead. I know he got a lot of side spin on it, but I'll say he's got an easy finish. It's not an easy finish if he's not on this one down the rail. Is he playing it with right hand side? No, you can see it. There's no side on the cue ball.
So Rob Warren is going to complete that clearance and pull back within 3 frames.
Would have liked to have left the angle just a top forward and maybe just bump the red to the side cushion. I don't know if he's got that angle, but that's what he would have tried to leave. And had he have bumped that to the rail, you see, he would have been dead straight on this one. You wouldn't have bumped it there for any security reasons, you know, not like you're going to miss the finish. You wouldn't think like that, but just having it out of the way just makes a bit more space. And yeah, he's okay. He's okay. I think he can just nip off the edge of the, just pinch the cue ball off the edge of the red and get it over to the side rail, and he'll be on the one over the middle.
And in doing so, he's going to...
Well, he's playing this like he's just stretching over the... See, look,
that red's come back out, and now he's covered both ways.
Well, can he pop this into the middle and screw back and hit the black?
That yellow will go.
I think he can hit the black like that.
Yeah, great shot. Players watching on appreciate this high standard of pool.
He's unbelievable when he's bridging over balls as well. He's already potted a couple in this match where he's bridging over balls and he just pots it as though it's over the hole, and he's got another one here, look. I hope I haven't just Jeff Hurst him with the commentator's curse there, but he's going to have to play another good one unless he can dab this one into the corner without pushing the black safe, and that's what he's worried about. Where's he going to push the black? He is very good at these shots bridging over.
No.
And that was nailed on to curse him after I said that. Sorry, Shaun.
You got to feel for him. It really is a shame that there's going to be a loser in this game. I could certainly watch another 20 frames of this. It's been an absolute pleasure to watch.
Had the yellow not have come out and blocked the red into the corner, these were an absolute gimme. Where it's foul, they're not, and that's why he's actually playing safe.
Yeah, showing a...
Has he left him a double? He's looking at it. If the yellow hits where the S is on the series, and he plays it quite hard, I think this is very close. I think he's got to hit it hard because he wants it to straighten up. Obviously he can't hit it too hard because he needs the cue ball somewhere in the middle of the table, but I think somewhere near where the S of the series is going to be close. Oh,
wow.
Jesus, he needs to hit it hard, but not that hard. Wow, why so hard?
Yeah.
I think that's maybe a bit of frustration about what happened the frame before, and maybe a bit of frustration the fact that he hasn't really made a mistake in this match and he's 10-8 behind.
Well.
Still played in great spirit though, they
Yeah.
were laughing a joke, and that's fair play to Shaun. He's obviously about to lose and still had a bit of a laugh and a joke. So it shows you what sort of guy he is and what sort of character. I'm not sure, to be honest, I'd have been able to sit there and laugh when I'm about to get beat. But I think he'll hold his hands up and say what an unbelievable match it was to be involved in, and like you say, it's a shame there had to be a loser.
I was wondering if there's any way that yellow being spotted could come to his aid, but...
No, it hasn't made any difference.
No. I mean, this is about as standard a clearance as you get, but he has to hold his nerve, has to rely on his muscle memory, just put it out of his mind, the gravitas of the situation, the fact that he's potting these balls to get into a final of a major event. To be fair, he's going around the table like he's just playing down at the Regal. On the practice table. So it's hats off to Declan Brennan. Well played, a really great, and sometimes a masterclass of pull from both players. And farewell to Shaun Chipperfield. He's put up such a great performance this weekend. A real pleasure, and what a spectacle they put on there as a semi-final. It's Declan Brennan that goes through to the final. He'll face the winner of Rob Warne and Phil Harrison. We'll get him across into the interview room for a chat. Not had a chance to chat to Declan before, so it'll be good to have a word with him. Thanks a lot, Gaz. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, and what a great match. It's not very often you get to see matches like that, played to that standard and that pace, with the skill of the cue ball control of both players. So what a great match to watch. I actually thoroughly enjoyed commentating on that, and like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head. Shame there had to be a loser there, but fantastic match and fantastic advert for the sport.
So we'll see you across in the interview room with Declan in just a couple of moments. So we're joined by Declan Brennan off the back of that incredible win. Declan, can you play better than that?
Not really, no. I've played, I guess, most of the week, to be honest, so it's just happy because I've taken this sort of practice game into tournaments now, which is nice.
Yeah.
Last year I was a bit nervy when I got to the latter stages, but I think I'm more experienced after the last year, so it's definitely helped me out.
I mean, that's of the highest standard. I don't know how many break dishes there were, reverse dishes, but I mean, you're just going to be happy to get in the final, but in some ways you've got to feel for Shaun. He put on such a great performance there. It was such a great match. It was a real shame to be a loser.
Of course, honestly, I was sitting there thinking, even if I had a loss there, I couldn't walk away disappointed. You know, you can't really give any more and play as well. I think that it just boiled down to my break was a wee bit better than Shaun's. He had a few dry and he put a couple of whites in.
Yeah.
So that was probably what the difference was in the end.
Yeah, and I think there was obviously it was an unbelievable standard and probably the best match I've ever commentated on. I thought your cue ball control was unbelievable. But there was obviously a point that could have been a turning point at 7-6 when you had quite an easy finish. And you purposely left the cue ball on the left side of the table because you wanted to leave the yellow over the right corner to get to the black. So you took your eye off it, you took out an unbelievable finish to go 7 each.
Yeah.
So obviously showed a lot of character as well to not let that affect you.
Yeah, that's just, you're going to make mistakes. I'll just try to tell myself not to be too hard on myself because everybody's human and you can't miss. Yeah. I just changed my mind on that yellow actually because I had the perfect angle to run the white onto the ball cushion and behind the red, which probably would have took the pressure off the pot. But it's not the natural way I'd have played the pot. But then So I sort of make my mind up. That's why I missed that one. But
Yeah.
just happy to get through.
Yeah, and like I said, fantastic standard. Ronan and a lot of the boys in Ireland have obviously been talking very highly of you for a while, and like you've just said, it was nice to take that practice game which you're obviously showing, you know, in the club into the tournaments, and eventually come over to England and obviously show what you can do.
Yeah.
You know, I know what it feels like for people to say you're going to do this, you're going to do that, but until you actually do it, it's not done. So you must feel a bit of relief from that side, because obviously people have spoke so highly of you for a long time, and to eventually come over here and show what you can do is a relief, I suppose.
Yeah, well, beating Jamie Burnett last night was a big monkey off my back, because I think the last 2 Supreme events I got to the last 16 in both, and I lost close games, so it was sort of playing in the back of my mind a wee bit. I just wanted to get over that hurdle and then see where I go from there.
I mean, your profile's been building over the last couple of years. Some good money match wins, and you know, you're making some waves over in Ireland. Where do you think that's come from? And I ask, what's changed? Is it, you know, practice partners, or just more time on the table, or you're just maturing as a player?
I think maturing as a player. I think just last year's experience of just how to deal with different pressure situations. You know, like games can go turn on its head. I struggled to get my head around that for a while, because I came from a snooker background. But now that I've just accepted that that's the way it can go, I just seem more at ease now.
Maybe giving Ronan all the beatings in practice has maybe helped as well, is it?
Yeah, no, but he still has one over me in the tournament, so I'm gonna have to try and put that right.
Yeah, what was that like playing him yesterday? I mean, you obviously know each other really well, and that was a nip and tuck game for a while, and he just seemed to hit the line at the end, didn't he?
Yeah, that's twice we've played now. We played in Murphy's in January as well. And he also beat me, so I'm starting to get sick of him in the events. He says he'll happily take all the beatings in practice if he can win all the tournaments.
But you must have played well against Mark Ball last night. Mark Ball was off the back of a win against Scott Gillespie, and he just played some exemplary pool out there. So you must have, you must have been really happy with that win as well.
Yeah, of course, I'm delighted.
Yeah.
I was 6-4 down to Boyle, and I took out a great finish to go 6-5. I had a wee bit of luck in the finish to go 6-all, but after that, the ball sort of went my favour. You know, it broke well, and he had a couple of dry. He was cut breaking. It was unreal, but thankfully he had a few dry ones.
Yeah, and I think, you know, from watching it, I think the pace that you played at was about perfect. I think your cue ball control was very, very good. Obviously, the potting's there, the temperament's there. There isn't really too many things to. Well, I don't think there's anything that you can sort of say anything sort of bad about. So I suppose for you now, it's just good luck in the final, and obviously keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I'd listen back to the final, to the semi if I was you, because if you've got someone like Gareth Potts saying it was one of the best games either of us have commentated on, and had nothing but good things to say about your game.
I'll take that nicely.
Keep doing the right things. Rob or Phil in the final?
I don't really mind, honestly. No, I look forward to it. It'd be nice to play Phil all the same, because he's a legend of the game, and it'd be nice to get a crack at one of the legends in the final. But
have you played him before? Never
played Phil before, no.
Yeah.
Obviously Robson played really well all week, and his son's christening as well as today, so
amazing.
He's got something to play for as well. So.
He definitely does. Yeah. Best of luck. Been a pleasure to talk to you, Declan.
No worries.
Best of luck in the final.
Yep.
Okay.
All the best, pal.
Cheers.
So we'll be back with the final. The Phil Harrison Rob Warnes game is still ongoing. You can watch that across on table 4. We'll be back on the main arena as soon as that game is complete and we're ready to go with the final. Stick around. We'll see you then.